Bet you didn't know he could cook. City Manager Mike Roberto joined Chef Turzak for this special edition of What's Cooking, Harborview? Turzak brought his culinary magic to Clearwater's Harborview Center in March of 1997. Prior to that, he owned and operated Metro Catering Company in Tampa, but Chef Turzak's experience reaches far outside the Tampa Bay area. He was executive chef at the American Stanhope Hotel on 5th Avenue in New York, and Gordon's, one of Chicago Magazine's top 10 restaurants in the Windy City. He owned 5 restaurants in Chicago. Among them, Turzak's Chameleon, Ketchup, and Tamales. He's also consulted for top-rated restaurants in Florida, Virginia, Chicago, and New York. Chef Turzak studied culinary arts at Du Père School of French Cooking in Glenview, Illinois, and was acknowledged by Food and Wine magazine as one of the top 60 chefs in America. For years, he hosted the cable TV series Great American Cookout, but now he's the host of What's Cooking, Harborview?
Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, or whatever time you happen to be watching this, and welcome to another edition of What's Cooking in Harborview. Now, like I promised you last month, we were going to do the Cucina di Roma menu, and the city manager is going to be here to taste it and help us out with it a little bit later. But the lineup for today is going to be my special antipasto, not to be confused with the word antipasta, which is not what this is. This is before the pasta, antipasto. And then we're going to have a Crato Formaggio lasagna, which is a 4-cheese lasagna. And then we're going to make a stuffed roasted quail with sage. And we are also going to make a fruit coupe with mascarpone cheese with a little bit of citrus juice and zesty and stuff. And then finally we're going to surprise you with a special drink that's famous from a very popular bar in Venice. But first we're going to do the antipasto, so we're going to dig right into that now. Now what I did was I cut salami thin, and then I cut it into half moons, and then I folded it up and laid it into the tray, like so. And put the whole exterior of the tray covered with salami. Now, I took some eggplant and some radicchio, and I seasoned it with olive oil and salt and pepper, and then I char grilled it, and we're going to use that. But I left this on the top of the eggplant when I sliced it and cooked it. It helps hold it together a little bit. And we're going to cut that off now. And we're going to just kind of cut these on an angle a little bit. And just kind of fold them in there. This salad looks so good because all the ingredients are so nice and fresh that you don't have to spend a lot of time trying to figure out how to make it look good. By the time you get through assembling it, it will just look good. Okay, there's our eggplant. And let's do some hard-boiled eggs. We'll slip a couple, one of those in between each one of the eggplants. Now, this isn't your typical antipasta that you see around the United States Italian restaurants. This is a little more Nouvelle and real Italian. It is actually a meal in our country. How they can eat a plate of this before they eat pasta and then eat fish is beyond me. I can't eat that much. But I just get some garlic toast with this and make a meal out of it. Now let's take... I've got some fresh spinach here that I cooked. What I'm going to do is I'm going to season it with a little bit of olive oil and a little bit of fresh lemon juice and a little bit of salt and pepper. Mix that all up. And let's go with a pile of spinach in the middle like that. And let's see, we've got peppers, gorgonzola, artichoke bottoms, grilled radicchio, onions, pepperoncinis, calamatas. We've got a lot of stuff here. Let's do a little tomato. Let's just put a little tomato in here like that. And let's do some of that grilled radicchio. We'll put a little piece of this around some of the eggs with the grilled eggplant. A grilled radicchio, what I did was, like I said, I seasoned it with olive oil, salt and pepper, and grilled it. Pretty simple. Pretty much what you do with any kind of vegetable you want to put on here. Squash, tomatoes, mushrooms, onions. Okay, now artichoke bottoms. Here we go. This one. I got some canned artichoke bottoms, which are pretty good. And I'm going to slice them up. Like that. Let's see. Put those, we'll just lay them around in there. And we've got some gorgonzola cheese. Let's take a nice little chunk of that. Put that around the outside perimeter, maybe on top of that salami. And we've got some roasted red peppers, or canned pimentos. And we'll cut those into some strips. And we'll put a little pile of those next to the spinach. And what else do we have? We have Kalamata olives. Let's blow a few of those on there. Have that nice briny Italian taste as opposed to that American black olive, which isn't that good. And we have some pepperoncinis. We'll throw a couple of those on there. I guess we can call this the fallen from the sky look. And what are we missing here? We had a little bit of onion. Let's go a little bit of onion here in the middle. Nice color there. And let's go with a little bit of anchovy right on the top of the onion. And I think I got everything in there that I have out here today. Now the only thing's missing here is a little bit of fresh basil maybe on the tomatoes. And here I got some Reggiano Parmesan. The funny thing is, when you go into Parma in Italy, over the road that you enter, there's a big wooden wheel of cheese on one side and a big wooden ham, both artfully decorated with paint. And between them it says, "Welcome to Parma." That you make no mistake about where this cheese is from. So what I'm going to do is make some cheese curls with my vegetable peeler. Let's just kind of toss them around on there. You can do this with just about any kind of cheese, but you want to make sure it gets to room temperature first because it doesn't curl like this when it's cold. See? That ought to do it. And then finally, I think we need just a little bit of olive oil and a couple of these eggs. And we'll just throw some around. And then finally, a little bit of parsley. And voila, antipasto. Probably enjoyed with some garlic toast. Well, already, we're back with the roasted quail with sage. You're going to love this dish, and it's very simple to make, and it's nice and light. And it's, again, a little bit Nouvelle Italian. Now, this is how we do it. First, you get yourself a boneless, or rather semi-boneless quail, you see? So part of the bones are in and part of the bones are out. The breastbones are all out. And then you tuck your wings in. And then what I did was, I made a little stuffing by cooking some pieces of bacon and rendering it, and then sauteing some celery, carrots, and onions with a little bit of sage and garlic with salt and pepper. And that's my stuffing. And we're going to be roasting the quail over a bed of this in the oven in a few minutes. But first, get your quail stuffed. You kind of want to make sure that your ingredients are cold too, because it's a lot easier to handle. This is a nice savory stuffing. You could probably put a little mushroom in here. If you wanted to put some diced sausage in here, you could. Okay, that's stuffed enough. Don't you wish you could just throw your food on the floor at home? Wouldn't that be great? All right. Now, we're going to secure these legs through the thighs with a toothpick, like that. And fill in all the holes so that the stuffing doesn't fall out, like that. And then once in the back here, we'll kind of thread a toothpick in here, like that, like we do with a sewing needle a little bit. And that's that. Now, I'm going to take a couple of nice fresh sage leaves. Yeah, we're going to lay them over the top. Like that. Now, we'll take ourselves a nice piece of bacon. I'm going to hold the sage on there. And we'll throw our bird on top of there. Make sure we get underneath the wings. You want this to be a little bit tight. Like that. And you stick a pick in there. This thing's just about ready to travel right now. Okay, now we'll just put a little bit of salt and pepper on it. What a darling little bird, isn't it? All right, now real quick, I'm going to brown this. I got a pan a little bit hot back here. We'll just put a little bit of oil in it. And we'll put it face down first. And all right, now what I did was I diced up some celery, carrots, and onions and cooked it in the rendered bacon fat and seasoned it with a little bit of sage and a little bit of dried leaf thyme and some salt and pepper and garlic, and it's great. And this is what we're going to roast the quail on. Well, let's give that quail a turn. Oh, look how nice that looks. Look how nice and brown that is. Oh, it's beautiful. We just brown her up a little bit. Like so. Okay, that'll work. Now, you see there? Now we take the quail and put it on the bed of the vegetables that we sauteed with the bacon and put it in the oven. Now, this I just took out of the oven. I have 3 of them here because I plan on eating lunch after we get through with you guys today. But now I'm going to proceed to make a little bit of sauce on the stove with the juice from the quail and the sauteed vegetables. So what we'll do is we're going to put a little bit of brown beef broth mixed into this, or brown veal broth, or whatever your favorite brown broth is. And we're going to put a little bit of red wine vinegar, okay, that was quick. Now we're just going to test this and see how the salt level is. That's good, just the way it is. Now, what I've done to kind of make this presentation a little bit nouvelle is I sliced up some cucumbers paper thin and put them around the outside and put a little bit of seasoned spinach with a little salt and pepper and oil on it in the middle. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set this up for 1 quail on this plate. So we're going to remove the toothpicks. We're going to leave the bacon on. We're going to set it right on there like that. Now, we're going to take some of the veg and put that around there like that. This looks very nice. This is actually fairly elegant. It's not exactly a picnicky type of dish. Now, what I have here is a nice fresh fig. Isn't that looking great? That's looking very nice. I have a nice fresh fig here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to quick peel it. And we're going to decorate the sides of our plate with a little bit of fig. Like that. Not to eat that. Okay. Now, I have some pistachio nuts, which is the Italians seem to be crazy about. I would say use maybe some pistachio nuts or some toasted pine nuts. And I have a little bit of diced tomato. We'll put some of that on there for a little bit more color. And just a little bit of chopped parsley on there. And then finally, let's take ourselves a nice little bouquet of sage leaves. There we go. Beautiful. Roasted quail stuffed with vegetables and sage on spinach. This is really nice. All right, we're back after that delicious quail stuffed and roasted with the sage. Now we're going to make the quattro formaggio lasagna. And this is a very fast and easy dish to make. First, you put a little olive oil in your pie pan. Then you take your blanched pasta sheets, which I blanched already, and you lay one in here, like that. And then you proceed to put your 4 cheeses in. A little bit of gorgonzola. And a little bit of Parmesan. And a little bit of mozzarella. And a little bit of goat cheese. Now a little bit of tomato that I seasoned with a little bit of garlic and olive oil and salt and pepper. And then a little bit of pepper. And then finally, this is a very good secret to know. It kind of keeps the whole lasagna kind of moist. Just a little touch of cream, like that. Now we'll throw a sheet of blanched spinach pasta on top of that. Repeat the whole process. See, one of the things that Italy is famous for is lasagna, but it's a pasta dish. Unlike over here in the U.S., it is almost like a meat or cheese dish with pasta. And they always are the ones that I've had, they're made for one person, like this. And now a little bit of tomato. And a little bit of oil. And a little bit of cream. And then finally, the last sheet, like this, and then the same drill again with the cheeses. And the goat cheese. And the mozzarella. And the Parmesan. And we will throw a little bit of basil on the top with the tomato and a little bit of parsley. Now we will quick wrap it up in a plastic wrap, because when we bake this we want it to be nice and moist, and so the plastic wrap will help seal it up. Now people say you can't bake with plastic wrap, but you can, as long as you put it on a low temperature or you recover the plastic wrap with aluminum foil, which is what we're going to do. I got a sheet of aluminum foil here. And now I will put this in an oven at about 300 degrees and cook it for about 20-25 minutes, just long enough to warm it up and melt the cheese. That's all I need to do. But I have one I just took out of the oven. The miracle of television, of course. And I will show you how to get it out of the pie pan and get it presented on the plate. First, take your foil off. See that? Look at that. Look at that cheese is all melted. Plastic wrap coming right off. Then you want to loosen the sides of this a little bit. So it'll slide out of the pie pan for you. I'm sure Michael Roberto can tell you that in Italy, they always make lasagnas flat and for one person, not these big things with the wavy noodles. All right, here we go. You just slide it onto the plate, voila. And then finally, we put a little touch of oil on here. Don't want to break tradition or anything. And a little bit of parsley, and voila, there you have it. Quattro formaggio lasagna.
You know, it's funny, John, when I came in, I noticed how you were making the lasagna. That's exactly how my mom made the lasagna growing up as a kid. My parents were immigrants from Italy, they grew up in the Naples area, and that's exactly the kind of lasagna my parents made growing up as a kid.
I told you it was real. Mike, you gonna jump in here and help me make this dessert? All right, this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna make this Italian-style quasi-nouveau fruit coupe with mascarpone cheese on top. And Mike, why don't you get the mascarpone cheese in there? This is a real simple dessert, by the way. And it's very summery, too. And this is the kind of thing you want to do. See, this is much cheaper in Italy. This cheese is expensive over here. I'm going to put a little bit of sugar in there, a little granulated sugar, and a little bit of vanilla. Oh, hold on. I put too much vanilla in there. Let me get some of that out of there.
How come I can't do that in my kitchen?
I told him earlier, wouldn't it be great if you just throw everything on the floor at home, but you can't. All right, so while he's mixing that real quick, I'll tell you what we're going to do. I'm going to show you how to mince the zest of the orange. So just take a little bit of the peeling. The same thing with the lemon. And this recipe is basically the juice of an orange, the juice of a lemon, and a little bit of minced zest of each, mixed in with a little triple sec and some sugar. So all I did was, is that stuff smooth? Oh, you got to mix that more than that. There we go. All right.
I don't know how to work this hard, would it?
Actually, I'm a little nervous because you're really Italian. I'm baking the whole thing. All right, so there's your zest. And what I did was I put it in the bowl already, okay? And now we'll put a little fruit in there. I got some blueberries, raspberries, strawberries, and some fresh white peaches, very Italian. And we will mix a little sugar in there. Give that a mix, Mike. Is that okay? Okay, that looks perfect. Now, let's give this here. Ooh, that mascarpone is so nice. Now, why don't you do this here? Let's fill these 2 coupe glasses with the fruit, and I'll load up the bag. We'll get this show on the road. So you don't have to put your mascarpone in a pastry bag, and you can use whipped cream if you want. But I'm just doing this because I'm trying to be fancy and impressed. I got a real Italian here, you know.
You ever get your glasses with a little bit of the juice on the side?
Yeah, definitely.
Got to dirty them up a little bit.
And now we're going to put just a little splash of triple sec on the top of each one of those. Boom. And now we'll put a little bit of cheese on there, like that.
Wow.
And
that's a photograph.
It's getting there. We're getting close, you know. Then we'll hit it with a little sugar. And if you can hit it with a little cocoa, that'd be perfect.
My big moment here.
Perfect. There you have it. Fruit coupe with mascarpone cheese, Italiano. Mike, I'm going to make a special drink for y'all, which is a Bellini drink from Harry's Bar in Venice. Mike, why don't you start getting something to eat, and I'll bring the drink over to you, and we'll sit down and taste some of this, so you can tell me what you think.
Okay, I'll be right over.
All righty. Now, the Bellini is famous all over the world. Things have been named after it, restaurants have been named after it, and it's a very simple drink, and it was originally made from Harry's Bar in Venice. Strange though it seems, the most famous drink in Venice was made by an American who opened the bar. But all it basically is white peach puree with champagne mixed together. And this is kind of the coup de grace for this type of meal we're having. So you just mix your white peach puree into the champagne, And while you keep it, mix it and pour it while it's still frothing. That's how they do it at Harry's Bar. Voila. There's been so many copies of these peach-flavored champagnes and beverages. This is the original here. This is very good. I'm going to join Mike, and we'll take a closer look at what he's got to say. I'm here.
This looks wonderful. This is probably the best part of my entire day.
Well, thank you. I got to say, this is the first time that I've ever had a chance to sit down and eat any of this food on any of these shows. And it's only because you're here, you know? And we really appreciate you coming, too.
I consider this an honor.
Well, what do you think about the comparison between this and your mother's, as you said?
Well, it's close to what my mom makes. It looks just like it in the same combination, but of course, however your mom cooks is always the best.
I hear you.
Can I taste?
Yeah, please. Isn't this great? We actually get to eat the food, not just cook it. Actually, we eat it all the time anyway, right after we're done.
That is wonderful. That is absolutely wonderful. It's got a nice light flavor to it, and I love the oil on top. Most Americans don't realize that you put the oil on top at the very, very end. My mom always used extra virgin olive oil.
Now, you have family in Venice that is the city councilman.
My uncle lives in Venice. I got an uncle who lives in Milan and an aunt who lives in Naples. And my uncle in Venice was the head of the power company and is now a councilman in Venice. And my uncle owns a chain of restaurants in Milan.
Oh, Milano.
I got a whole family. My whole mom's side stayed in Italy. My dad's side came to America.
My understanding really about Milano is it's really the most, I've only been there once for a short stop overnight and had dinner once, didn't get a chance to tour the city, but my understanding it's really the style capital of Europe in terms of clothing and everything else. So
it's a beautiful, beautiful country. In fact, my parents are there right now, visiting the relatives.
This I want to get back to. You know. Well, what do you think? You got time to finish lunch?
Yeah, a little bit.
Alrighty. Well, thanks a lot for joining us, and Michael, again, it was great having you on. And maybe one other time, if you please come back, we'd love to have you on. And next month, we're going to be doing a little bit more of the summer light stuff. I'm not sure what yet. We'll figure it out between now and then. But meanwhile, thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time. Ciao.
Okay. I think I can do that. I can work on that.